So today I'm here to tell you about the Wounded Warrior Program and why it's a good nonprofit organization to invest your money in. A little background info on suicide rates in the U.S. Just over 45,000 adults committed suicide in 2017 as of a most recent report, which is in 2019. Just over 6,000 of those deaths were veterans who were suffering mental health issues and they were suffering from depression, stuff like that. That's just outrageous to me because that's 13.5% of the overall 45,000. If I were you, I'd want that to go down. So if you support the Wounded Warrior Project, then you're going to be directly affecting that, causing those numbers to go down. And that's what your support's going to be going towards. Just as a little oversight, first I'm going to tell you about the lack of support and help with veterans and their mental health issues. Next, I'm going to inform you about Wounded Warrior Project and what they do. And last, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if you don't invest in the nonprofit organization Wounded Warrior Project and how they can change things. So if we're going to get started with first point. According to the U.S. Library of National Medicine in 2017, there was a correlation between lack of mental health and the higher suicide rates within veterans. And as little stats on this, in 2015, there's about 41.5 per 100,000 people, age of 18 to 34 committed suicide who were veterans due to mental health. And in 2016, these numbers went up to 44 per 100,000, and even higher in 2017, which was 44.5 per 100,000. So you can see there's definitely an issue there. It's been going up every year annually. But the biggest problem here is that many adults join the military not having a backup plan, and they don't learn a lot of the real world skills needed to get a good job so that they can earn enough money to pay for things like health care, so that they have access to services if they need help. But if veterans are on the VA healthcare system, then they don't have access to the critical crisis intervention services that everybody else has access to. And this also causes them to have a lower wage. Obviously if they have a lower wage, then there's just less access to them. And veterans, they can get help, but a lot of the time, by the time they get help, it's too late because the depression or PTSD or whatever the mental health disorder is has just advanced to the point where there's just no going back. It's just too bad. So I just told you about lack of mental health support and U.S. veterans, and I'm going to tell you about how Wounded Warrior Project can change that. So the Wounded Warrior Project, nonprofit organization, uses 100% of its contributions towards veterans that are in need of financial and mental support. If you want to look at their website, they do have first-hand stories from people who have been helped. You can find that at woundedwarriorproject.org. So, get started with this first point. Through 42,000 hours of rehabilitation care, interactive activities, and counseling, Wounded Warrior Project has helped veterans build some sort of resilience to the problems that they have faced. And so the first thing that they'll provide physical support. So one of their goals is set was 100,000 pounds as a group to lose in weight, and they did it. So I think that's pretty impressive. And 60% of the participants have actually found change within the program. So there's definitely it's definitely working. They also have 48-hour support peer groups. So this to the veterans, this provides an outlet for them to get out what they need to get out because they don't just want to be spilling this to any random stranger. These peer groups, they also have people who are similar to them who have been in similar experiences. So it's somebody that they can use to relate to. And for only a small fee, it starts one-time payment. You can make a $50 payment, or you could put down your best price, whatever cash you'd like to throw out, just as a one-time payment. You can also support by giving monthly gifts as low as $19, so a subscription service. If everybody ships in small amounts of money, it all adds up really big to where, that organization is going to be able to use that money to help all of our veterans. The access is going to become a lot more available to them. So I just told you about how Winter Warrior Project helps veterans. Now I'm going to help you visualize what's going to happen if nobody supports Winter Warrior Project, and what's going to happen if there is no help for them. So disorders such as anxiety, PTSD, and depression, as I stated, they don't normally go away on their own. They need care, and they can cause veterans to have nightmares, racing hearts, excessive fears, phobias, according to U.S. Department of Veterans and Affairs. That's most common symptoms. Just imagine a person like you or me, just beaten and afraid in the world because they're lost in their own mind. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do because they just got out of the say for instance, detrimental injury. You're not going to be able to partake in a lot of the physical services that you would have before, especially if that's one of your inclinations. There's no way for them to relate and confine most people because most people aren't in the military or weren't in the military, and they don't understand that experience they're going through. So Winter Warrior Project, they'll provide that. But without this organization, there'd be so much more need for help, and the ender spiral in veterans could lead them to commit suicide, which is what we don't want, obviously. So I just helped you visualize the veterans without Winter Warrior Project. I'm going to wrap things up. First told you about the U.S. Healthcare support that the veterans need. I then told you about the WWP and how they can help. Finally, I'll help you visualize veterans in need that got help from Winter Warrior Project. Final thought. Use these resources to take action now. So after this presentation, visit their website.